Why is there no beverage for that ice, Jack?
Because I like to eat the ice, Sheriff.
So, if you watched my review for Red 1, you may ask yourself now, didn't he say he didn't want to watch Hot Frosty? Well, I did say I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. And now I did. Was it a good decision or do I regret it? Will it be something you may want to watch? Hi there, it's Micha. Join me for this review if you like to find out. Kathy has put her life on hold, along with all the repair tasks in her house, which she keeps postponing, be it the busted step on the stairs, the broken heater resulting in her walking around with a blanket, or the leaky roof for which she just uses buckets to catch the droplets. This is because she recently became a widow, losing her husband to cancer. Everyone in town tries to help her, including her elderly friend Dottie, who tells her,
"You'll never find the warmth unless you venture out into the cold."
Which is what she did when she was young, grabbing her favorite scarf, and that night she met her husband and soulmate. So to raise Kathy's spirit, she gifts her that very scarf.
Thanks.
Well done, you.
And thinking about it, that wink may indicate that she is very well aware of the fact that the scarf has some magical properties. Let me know in the comments if you believe that to be true or what you make of that moment. Anyway, just a moment later, she passes by some snowmen. And as the others all wear scarves, she decides to put hers around that sexy snowman's neck.
You keep it.
Side note, though important for the story, it kinda bugged me that she basically just threw that treasured piece of her friend's history away like that. I mean, she didn't know what would happen next. So it is quite thoughtless, but moving on. To foreshadow the coming magic, she sees a twinkle in the snowman's eye before she leaves. And then of course... And the scarf is magical in another way too, which is, since this movie is PG, the power of miraculously hiding what is not meant to be seen in a family movie. After streaking through the neighborhood, he accidentally stumbles into a clothing store and grabs some clothes sporting a name tag, which will later conveniently provide the name he adopts. When Jack then later comes across Kathy, he recognizes her and tells her what happened.
Sorry, what happened?
Well, I was made of snow, and now I'm made of not snow. Can you believe it?
Of course she didn't believe that, but since he has a freakishly low body temperature...
He's ice cold, but appears to be sweating.
She starts to believe his story, supported by a very open-minded doctor.
What is the simplest explanation? He's a snowman. And how cool would that be?
So Kathy takes him in, but tells him to keep low profile, because the overeager sheriff is looking for the thief who broke into the store.
I'm going to establish a task force. We are going to find the perpetrator.
Oh no, don't do all that. It'll be fine.
Meanwhile, Jack turns out to be a fast learner, learning so much just from watching TV. Though I think he might have learned even more by watching YouTube. Some things are very helpful, like making pizza from scratch, and other stuff that, at least in this movie's reality, is less helpful. Since Jack turns out to be a true sweetheart, he tries to help wherever he can, and soon is known all over town. There is just the small problem of him not being equipped to withstand heated places for a prolonged time. Can Kathy protect him from being caught by the sheriff? Will Jack be able to melt Kathy's heart out of her isolation without melting himself along the way? Check out this movie if you like to find out. Well, on Christmas Eve I found myself looking for a Christmas movie, but I already watched Red 1. Actually, in that review I threw a little bit of shade at Hot Frosty, assuming it would be a cheesy romance movie. As lead actor Lacey Chabert kinda is the queen of a Hallmark channel, having starred in what feels like 100 of their movies over the last decade. And the short clips I had seen thus far didn't really change that impression. But I since read that it is supposed to be a self-aware comedy, and with nothing better to do, I decided to give it a go. Starting up Netflix though, I almost changed my mind, as my TV's app showed it classified as just romance, not as a comedy. But I thought I could always just switch it off, which honestly, knowing myself, is something I cannot manage to do anyways once I started watching a movie. For better or worse. Quick heads up, there is a weird misalignment going on between different Netflix apps. My browser version, which I checked after watching the movie, did promote it as a romantic comedy and as feel-good, quirky and goofy, which fortunately turned out to be more accurate. To make sure people also immediately get that notion when they watch the movie, they brought in Craig Robinson and Joe Lo Truglio as comic relief characters, playing the town's sheriff and his deputy.
Bring this man to justice.
As I was skeptical going in, I swiftly found myself positively surprised with this movie. There was of course some cheesiness, especially in the beginning, but it indeed was self-aware and on purpose. The film then quickly found a solid balance between humor, absurdity, but also sincerity and truly heartfelt moments. What surprised me most was how effortlessly actor Dustin Milligan managed to bring his character's innocence and kindness across. Not just being eye candy as the film's marketing conveys, which otherwise would have resulted in the movie to crash and burn. It truly was self-aware and had a lot of fun along the way.
I know who I am.
That is so funny. That looks just like a girl I went to high school with.
Like here, not just referencing Chabert co-starring in Mean Girls alongside Lindsay Lohan, but doing so by also using material from, if I'm not mistaken, Netflix's own Christmas event movie from last year, Falling for Christmas, which I also haven't checked out yet. And during the clothes shopping spree sequence in the big city, they played Roy Orbison's Pretty Woman, and even copied one of the most iconic scenes from the eponymous movie. And even though that was kinda cheesy, it didn't register that way. One of my favorite moments came when they were baking cookies together. The look on Jack's face when Kathy bit off the head of the snowman was priceless. As a last call out, to be honest, I think I never actually watched any of those Hallmark movies, so I wouldn't even know how this one compares to them. Anyway, I ended up really enjoying this movie and I'm always happy when that happens, especially when I would have never expected it. And with that being said, let's get to the rating. Well, call me touchy-feely if you like, and maybe watching it on Christmas Eve had something to do with it, but I really liked this one. The humor and self-deprecating moments for sure helped with it, but there was also a lot of traditional romance and heartwarming elements at play you would also find in any other cheesy movie, but the mix just worked for me.
Feeling sweaty. Little hot in here for you? Yes. See, he gets it.
So let me keep it short by saying this one gets 8 out of 10 points from me, which surprised me too and almost makes me feel a little bit embarrassed. Most things were well done and I had a good time. If you are in the mood for something of that kind, just give this one a go. What about you? Did you like this one too, or did the mix not work for you? Have you watched any Hallmark Christmas movies and can shed a light on how this one compares to them? Whatever you like to share, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share or subscribe. So much for now, see you next time, and thanks for watching. There is a weird misalignment going on between different Netflix apps. They played Roy Orbison's. Kathy has put her life on hold, along with all the repair tasks in her house, which she kept